What's going on, people? Welcome back to Man Knows Football. You're here with myself, Guni and Younes. And as always, our third guest, Wahali Lee, is running a little bit late. So he will be with us. So just bear with him. But people, thank you for joining. Sorry for the 6-minute wait. You know how it is with Guni and OBS, but I'm getting the hang of it. Yeah, after yesterday's shit show, I am back. Yeah, we are back. We try again. First you don't succeed. Try again. And that's exactly what we did. But big up everybody in the chat. Big up Younes for joining in on time as well, man. Yeah, big up yourself, Younes, bro.
No lateness is greatness today. No.
Yeah, we're all good today. But Super League talk is back. But before I get into the Super League, people, we've got to do a couple of things, yeah? First of all, Younes, have you retweeted on the socials? Yep. Right, there's that. Younes has done that. But people, like, share, subscribe, all of that good stuff. We are on that road to 20K. You get me? So help us reach there. If you want to donate to the channel, hit that join button, hit that super thanks as well. But we're just going to get straight into it. Younes, I had a conversation with Lee Gunner earlier. We spoke about the Super League on his channel. So I've got a bit of his view. So I think now while he's not here would be a good time to get a bit of where you're at in terms of the whole Super League thing and the way it's creeping in. And we're starting to get more of a picture of what they're trying to bring in. So let me just get your thoughts on that first and foremost, bro.
I mean, we all anticipated that they'd be back, right? We knew they were going to come back. That's a given. So for anyone that thought, oh, the protests work, they're dead, they're not. They were never dead. They just decided to move away for a little bit and come back later. But their approach is completely different. And their approach is understandably different because they can't come at the same pace or method that they did last time because there'd be protests kicking off tomorrow.
Yeah.
They're doing this in increments now. And they're doing it having taken what is deemed to be the fans' opinion into consideration. And everything that was said, apparently they've now addressed. So we're looking at what they're trying to do now. Apparently they're going to keep domestic football as it is. They're not going to be touching that. It's going to be a multi-tier system. So there's going to be loads of divisions and it's not, there won't be any permanent members. So you can come in and out as you please. And it's almost like they're telling everyone what they want to hear. Which this is where they're going to get an advantage from that, which is they're going to get a lot of people that are going to now buy it. There are going to be a lot of people that are going to go, all right, yeah, no, I hear what I want to hear, and it seems like they've taken the concerns into consideration, and they're going to do what we want. Great, I'm on board. Whereas in reality, I don't think it's that simple, and I think that down the road they're going to turn their backs on what they've said, and they're going to eventually, once things do end up being launched and let's say it gets proven, that's when they'll probably turn the back on all domestic leagues and they'll give a choice to the clubs. You either stay or you go and you go back to your domestic league. Or chances are they're probably going to be forced to stay in the Super League and domestic football will have to be abandoned because they've already said 14 games minimum. When you take that into consideration, 13 games is the amount of games that you can play at a maximum in the Champions League if you play the final. And already with that, and all the domestic competition, it's already a lot of football. So injuries, player health, all of that, that's clearly going to be thrown out the window. They say that they're going to take that on board. Player health is one of the points of their manifesto. But again, when you're realistic about it, I feel like they're just saying that, just to appease people. Down the line, I feel like it's going to be a case where it's going to be, look, you've been in this Super League. You've seen what you're being offered. You've seen the amount of money, eyes, TV, this, that, and the other. Are you going to go back to your domestic league or are you going to stay here? And that's what I think it's going to come down to. And that's what I fear. That's what I think is going to happen. Many might not think the same, but that's how I think it's going to go.
Harad is saying, Younes hates everything new. He hates Potter. He hates the Super League. And he's an old man. Well, then, I'm also an old man when it comes to the Super League thing because you know what? I'm very much with the whole Premier League tradition. I'm not really with the whole Super League thing myself. And Uncle Jesters, big up yourself. This guy, do you know what? I have to take a moment to just big up Uncle Jesters, because you see, when it comes to like updating with relevant information at the right time, this brother is always on point. Big up Uncle Jesters. And he just said, I believe not joining the Super League was in the sale agreement. Very interesting, because I remember that being part of the conversation.
Yeah, the Premier League as a whole. Yes, Lee. How's it going?
Hold on.
Good.
Hold on. I've got to add you in, Lee.
Oh, yeah, you're not on screen.
Yeah, he's not on the screen for the viewers yet, but he will be in just a second.
I'm seeing two screens, so that's why I got confused.
Jesus Christ.
There he is. Now he's present with the green screen.
Sorry, I'll shut up and let you carry on then.
No, but yeah, Younes, go on.
The Premier League clubs as well. I think at the time when it all went down, they all did come together and I think made an agreement that they wouldn't join any future Super League. Now, are you going to believe that? Are they going to stick to that? It is what it is. That's maybe they're in place, but I'm hoping they stick to it anyway. We'll see what happens. I don't think they will, if I'm being honest.
So, Lee, an interesting piece of information has crossed my lap. Yeah. And we're talking about Chelsea Football Club here. And apparently, in the sale agreement, it says that Chelsea were not to join the Super League. And apparently, it's written in black and white. And I don't know what's going to happen if they decide to go against it, but apparently it's there. What do you think about that?
I'm sure there'll be some way around it, bro.
Oh yeah,
there's ways around
with Todd
everything.
Bowley and what he's done. Yeah, I wouldn't.
There's loopholes around everything, and if anyone's going to find a loophole, it's Todd Bowley.
Yeah, facts.
Let's be real. He's come and made a mockery of FFP inside 6 months.
Yeah,
He's come in and just absolutely made a mockery to the point they've got to change the rules. Right. This is why I don't think Man City are going to get done, because they've been in the league a lot longer, and they've got more money and more wealth. They've probably got better lawyers. So I'm not convinced they've done anything wrong, but we'll see with that. But yeah, they'll find a way, bro. They'll find a way.
It'll probably get to a point where the very same people that have put that agreement on the table for them to sign are going to be the ones going, you know what, we're going to try and find a way for all of you to get into the Super League.
Yeah,
at the end of the day, that's probably what's going to happen. So.
Mate, it's funny you saying that. I met a guy out here, right, that sold a load of people timeshares, and years ago, yeah, Scottish guy, right, he's been out here years and years, right, and he said, yeah, I sold all these people timeshares. Obviously, that all went sideways and wonky. He goes, now I set up a company to get them all out of their timeshares.
It's the old trick.
Exactly the same.
It's the old trick. It's the old, I'll throw a brick through your window and I'll give you the security afterwards.
What in the Delbo, man? But interesting here, because Shervin says, owner of Real Madrid, whatever his name is, I believe that's Fiorentino Perez, is said all teams who joined it previous is contractually obligated in the Super League. That's very interesting. So there's a massive conflict.
Perez is a massive advocate for this as well.
Yeah, he is.
He's one of Barcelona.
He's one of the dons pushing it.
I want it as well. I want it to happen.
Yeah, I'm shocked that you wanted it to happen. Guni was telling me, I was like, really? How? Not explain.
There's no good reason for it not to happen. Nobody can give me a genuinely good reason for it not to happen.
I mean,
and if it's going to happen, I want my team there.
Do you? I hear that. Do you think that it won't affect domestic football at all? Like they've said it won't.
Domestic football's been trash for 30 years since the Premier League ruined it. Like, let's be real. Like, a team like Salford, for example, that Gary Neville's involved in.
Yeah.
Has that team genuinely ever got a chance to win the Premier League? Is it ever going to get into the Premier League and then go on and win it? Yeah, that pyramid of football has been finished for years. Yeah, it's not like the days where remember when the Premier League first started, Oldham were in it. Yeah, now Oldham I think they're the first and only team ever to play in every division of football. Like, it's crazy. It's been absolutely decimated years ago. Football's been about money since the Premier League, or maybe even before the Premier League. Like, Jimmy Hill was advocating for £5 a week wages and all of that back in the day, in the 50s and that.
Yeah.
Like, you know, how far back we could go back years and years and years and say football was finished then. Zidane going for 50 million back in 2000. That was a stupidly high transfer. Yeah, like, you know, now we've got 200 million pound players. We've got 100 million pound players popping up left, right, and centre. Well, I don't see how it's going to be any different. Yes, it might do away with the Premier League in the end, but bro, I genuinely couldn't care less whether it happens or not. Like, the football for me is so far gone from what it was when I was growing up. It really makes no difference to me, if I'm honest. And I see so many people, like, and this ain't a dig at you two either. Yeah, I see so many people, because I've already called out the ones I want to call out, that are sitting there saying, oh, it's so bad for the pyramid. Okay, none of them go and watch their local non-league team. None of them go and watch their local lower division team. Yeah, then they sit there and say, oh, but it's greedy owners as they're paying for their season ticket renewals. Like, you can't have it all ways. Yeah, and then as soon as the pound note will be dangled, yeah, and Chelsea versus Real Madrid in Abu Dhabi, and a sponsorship deal comes in to fly that said person who was against it all the way out there VIP and give them free passes for the game, trust they'll be on it.
That's it. Yeah, that's it.
And this is why, bro, I couldn't care less. And that's not being like nasty or facetious or anything like that. I just genuinely couldn't care less.
And if
football for me is so diluted from what I grew up watching, like with the Italian league in the 90s.
Yeah,
it's finished, man. Football is so diluted, and that's why I have arguments with so many people about, oh, you need to rate Mesut Ozil. Come on, man. I could name 100 players in that position better than him that I've watched. Like, good player right now, cool, fantastic. But I could name 100 of players in my lifetime that I've seen levels clear of that kid. Yeah, and it's like, but that's where we're at. Yeah, and then people are saying same with the Qatari bid with or potential bid with Man United. And the people moaning about like all these freedom fighters and humanitarians that pop out of the woodwork. Like, if they bank with Barclays, they probably better cancel their accounts. If they shop in Sainsbury's, they better not. If they've ever been to the Shard, they've invested in Qatar. Yeah, if they've ever been in Harrods, yeah, same. If they've ever flown with British Airways, the same. If they've ever been flown out of Heathrow Airport, the same. Yeah, like, I could keep going on and on and on.
Oh, that's the point.
Like, it's fashionable for me, like right now, how I see it for me, I just see that not many people can come up with a logical explanation as to why they don't want it. So it's fashionable to say, no, I don't want it. And because the majority of people, especially with what we do online, everyone will be like, yeah, totally agree, man. I'm with you. And it's an easy way to get a lot of traction. Yeah, say I'm having a rant about the Super League and boom, doubled your views, doubled your retweets, doubled this. Yeah, whereas I just sit there and I think, well, if you got offered to go to this game, you'll be on it, mate. Yeah, if 888 comes to some of these people that have been chatting crap today and said, do you want to have a little debate around the table? We'll pay you some money to debate about who's going to win the Super League. Trust me, they'll be there.
They'll be all over it. Absolutely.
Yeah, and that's why I find it very hypocritical with a lot of these people. Like, you guys are sound. Like, if you don't want it, you don't want it.
For me, it's, do you know what it is, Guns? Yeah? For me, it's just more of the tradition of what we have left of the Premier League. I just want to try and keep it. I enjoy the way the structure is. But like with most people, like, I'm no different. I'm a human being. Some people just don't like change. And it's like I said to you before, it's one of those ones where if the Super League does come, what am I going to do? Stop supporting Chelsea? Of course we are. I'm sure
I've seen people saying that today. I'll stop supporting my club if it happens. I've seen people say that.
Are you going to do that, Younes?
That's another reason why I want it. Because then we might actually get rid of all these idiots that have infested our fan bases and lowered the standards. Like, well, your club's all right because you win stuff. Like, but yeah, maybe that's another reason. But I don't know.
The thing is, like, with the way that it's been portrayed now, right? I see a lot of people even jumping on board because, unlike before, and the way it was trying to be sold before, they came at one big hit. They came just saying, this is going to replace everything, right? And no one agreed. Whereas now they're trying to come in increments, and they're trying to come with having already addressed some fans' concerns, like domestic leagues won't be affected. You know, this is just going to replace European competition. There's going to be slightly more games. So that means more revenue, and that revenue is going to be distributed. But when you look at, and this is where on my video earlier on, I brought up the topic about the way that the world is heading at right now, not just football, but the entire globe and all industries across the world, and the way that it's moving, especially towards 2030. And we know that globalization is a big thing. Football right now is probably going to be included because it's a massive money maker, and it's one of the key fundamentals to the way that people behave in the world, right? So when you look at the way that this new Super League has come about, and A22 Sports Management, who have taken control of the way that the Super League is going to be done. Yes, at first, I even think if it got launched for the first 2-3 seasons, they're going to do exactly as they've said. And I feel like everyone will probably end up being on board. But when it gets to a point where, especially with the amount of football that's going to be played, that I don't think is physically possible, unless if squads are massively increased, and all the big teams have that massive increase in squad, they're not going to be able to handle the schedules.
They are trying to revamp the League Cup and the FA Cup, though, aren't they?
Well, this is the thing, and if it starts affecting domestic football, I honestly think, now this is my opinion, that it will get to a point where A22 Sports or the Super League, let's just say the Super League, will turn around to the clubs already involved and go, you see what you've managed to build for yourselves here, you see the structure here, abandon your domestic football because it's not worth it. You're going to have to stay here. And then that's where I think it's just going to turn back to what they originally wanted, which is just the Super League and no domestic football. I think it'll kill everything else. And you'll just end up with top teams in a big 4 or 5 tier division, as they've said, and that's it. That will be it. That will be football. So this is where I look to the rest and I go, what's going to happen to them? And I'm like, at first, for what they're proposing, it seems very nice, right? But I think down the line, I think they're going to switch. I think they're going to turn.
But UEFA have done exactly the same, and FIFA. Like the European Cup, you used to have to win the league to get into that. Yeah, then it was, we can open up 4 slots. Like it's kind of the same thing, but a different group. It's like when the Premier League first came in, like that was going to be seen as the savior of English football. Yeah, well, it's not really, is it? But look how many clubs have gone out of business since.
Well, listen to this, lads. The Telegraph have come out, with the Super League's 10-point manifesto, and I thought this would be a good time to share it with you lot, right? So, number 1, more teams than the original Super League plan. Unlike the previous proposal controversially backed by England's so-called Big Six, participation should be based on annual sporting merit and there should be no permanent members. So that's been established. There's no permanent members in this thing. And blah. Number 2.
Which goes back to the point of having signed the contract and you have to stick to it, like Perez is trying to say, which is now not the case then, if they've already admitted that. So
a breakaway replacing UEFA competitions but not domestic leagues. So that means Champions League, Europa League, they're in the bin. The Super League's commitment to preserving existing domestic leagues would not necessarily save any potential Premier League sign-ups from being expelled from the English football pyramid if they join up. So if they do join the Super League, potentially they could get expelled from the Premier League still. That's still on the table, apparently.
Yeah, because the Premier League are a totally different company.
Yeah.
So the Premier League want to protect their product. Yeah, the Premier League own the Premier League, didn't they? Yeah, and all them clubs that are in the Premier League currently have signed up to adhere to their rules. So that's why last time the Premier League were going to kick off and start relegating everyone and taking points and everything, weren't they? Because the Premier League are obviously going to have the ump, because this is now the Premier League elite clubs going with Europe's elite clubs and all hatching a plan together. The Premier League can't stop everyone. Yeah, they can only stop or try to stop the Premier League teams. They can't stop Real Madrid. That's down to their FA and league to do.
Yeah,
but this is just a lot of rich and powerful people trying to flex a muscle. Against rich and powerful people. It's which corrupt organization do you want the most?
No, it's true. And this is where I said this in my video earlier. Like La Liga, the Premier League, all of these UEFA, like they're not angels. They're just as they're just as corrupt and dodgy as anyone else can be. Even these new Super League people. But this is where the Premier League are looking out for their own interests, and they know. I feel like they know. I feel like everyone can see that there's a risk that even now, if domestic football is being preserved, down the line, once it's launched and they've already fed everyone increments and it's launched and it's a success for the first couple of seasons, eventually teams are going to leave their domestic leagues. And it's going to be Chelsea, Real Madrid, Arsenal, Barca, Juve, Bayern Munich on a weekly basis.
Yeah, facts.
It will get.
Yeah, they might just put the reserves out. You'll have your under 21.
Yeah, it will diminish the quality of the competition potentially. So the third
But
one.
then surely, if that is the case, right? So let's say Arsenal and Chelsea both joined it, and then we're playing Bayern Munich on a Wednesday. Yeah, then on the following Wednesday we're playing Madrid, but we're playing halfway around the world, right? Like say Abu Dhabi, and then we're playing in Los Angeles, right? In them games. But then on the Saturday we're playing at home to Chelsea, for example. That would be Arsenal under 21s against Chelsea under 21s because we've got to fly to Los Angeles, right? But on the flip side, that could also help the lower division teams get into the Premier League, even though the Premier League won't still have as much of the income. A team from the Championship, once they get in, they will have a chance of flying up that league a lot easier than they do now.
This is the thing. When we look at money and the way it's being distributed, or we look at TV money, for example, if there's a Super League of this nature and all the TV's gone flip, we got to catch this.
Yeah.
I don't think even the Championship will be on TV anymore.
Well,
yeah, true.
So it says,
it's true.
So number 3, a guarantee of 14 European matches for every club. A European league with divisions would start to close the financial gulf between teams. Stability and predictability in revenues would be dramatically improved by offering clubs a minimum of 14 guaranteed European matches. Not sure what's happened to Lee's camera.
No, sorry, I was doing the same. Sorry,
okay, mate. There he is. Yeah, I was just making sure OBS weren't doing me dirty.
No, don't worry, man. OBS is working fine. You got it working fine.
I got it smooth running today. You get me? So stability and predictability in revenues would be dramatically improved by offering clubs a minimum of 14 guaranteed European matches. So obviously, we don't have to worry too much about in terms of overplaying our players, which is something it's still a concern without the Super League, but because Champions League is going to be out the window, Europa League is going to be out the window, we can consider those games out of the way. So that's not necessarily adding to the congestion list. But even still, just like clubs flying to... Because, Lee, you said something interesting. So will games be actually played in, like, Dubai, over here in America, and all kinds of different countries in the Super League? Or is it just restricted to Europe?
No, I think they'll put them everywhere. Like if you look at the Middle East as well and the Far East and that, like they're getting a lot of the boxing, yeah, they're getting a lot of the F1, they're getting a lot of sports going over to these countries now. Yeah, they're going to obviously Ronaldo plays in Saudi Arabia now, you know, and I see with the potential Qatar takeover at United, apparently I see something last night saying that Beckham could be the face of that. He was obviously the face of the World Cup, yeah, for Qatar. So. Yeah, man, this is what there's a lot of people that are trying to, I don't know, like try and take football global, which I think has been the plan. Like, and it is a global sport, but they're trying to get it Arsenal in LA, Arsenal in Saudi, Arsenal in wherever. Yeah, same with all the other clubs. Because if you think about how many fans actually get to go and watch games in England for the teams they support, it's tiny. It's probably less than 1% of the global fan base for that club.
True.
So now, if you live in America, you can see Chelsea play against Real Madrid. You've now got a chance to see your team play. So for fans that live abroad, it's fantastic.
Oh, yeah, for them, it's great news. And this goes back to my point of globalization. This is exactly what it is. It feeds into that. So,
and that's where the money is, let's be honest, right? Because if no fans turned up to any of our football stadiums in England every week, these clubs wouldn't go bust. They would not. We see this for 2 years in COVID times. Yeah, the fans, our club went out and done 300 million in two separate different windows straight after that.
Yep.
Yeah.
But
So
teams like Bury went bust. Bolton almost went down as well. So
true.
But our clubs were still fine, and this is why I'm not too bothered by it, to be honest with you, because the pyramid now is flawed anyway.
Yeah,
like,
we're not gonna. Yeah, that's
the Premier
true.
League's not helped any of these lower league teams.
We're not gonna.
Like, if you think how much money Bury needed to stay afloat. Yeah, literally just one of the Premier League footballers could have dipped into his pocket and paid that. Yeah, and then they could have set up a little trust fund between a group of footballers like Gary Neville's done and buying Salford and stuff like that. Could have got a little consortium in there that said, yeah, we'll save that club. Nobody cares about the pyramid of football, apart from the pyramid teams fans, like the lower, like you don't care about Arsenal. You couldn't care less what we're doing. Like, same with us. Like, yeah, we'll look and be jealous and spend all the money. But you couldn't care less that we're not winning nothing. Right. So why would any Premier League team look down, or fans look down and say, oh, well, not Northampton Town, oh, they might be strong. Oh, yeah, oh, let's go and watch them at the weekend. Nobody does unless you support that club.
That's true.
Yeah.
All right, let
That's
me
what I was
get
saying to you
through.
earlier, right? I showed you earlier, didn't I, Guni? MK Dons, yeah, and Northampton Town's average attendances are around 6,000, right? But then when Leicester City played MK Dons,
It's
it was
double.
15,000.
Yeah, it's double.
As soon as a
triple
big team comes to town, more fans turn up, and that's the same principle here.
that.
As soon
the
as big
principle-
teams are
it's the
playing big
principle-
teams, more people will watch it.
It's the principle in the Premier League. Even when you get teams that have just been promoted, they're buzzing to go to their Category A games where they get Chelsea at home, or they get Man City coming, or Arsenal, or we get to go to the Emirates now. We get to go to Old Trafford. Like
Yeah.
that's where the buzz is. So
Let me get through the rest of them real quick because there's still several more, but I'm just
I'm
going to
going to
fly
go
through
toilet,
them
man.
quickly.
I've been sat streaming for like 2 hours straight, so I'll be back in 1 minute.
That's calm. An overall limit on matches. Importantly, European clubs and players should not be obliged to participate in expanded or new tournaments imposed by third parties. In an apparent reference to FIFA's proposals to expand the World Cup and UEFA's plan to expand the UCL. Number 5, a competition run by clubs rather than Blazers. The idea is to have a Premier League style system of club ownership, but more safeguards in place. The governance structure must be fully compliant with EU law, A22 say. Number 6, season-long European competition. The Premier League's rapid overseas TV rights growth has been fueled by an explosion of interest in the US market. It is also critical that younger generations continue to embrace football as the most loved sport in the world. So that just goes back to what you were saying. Yeah, again, globalization, Younes. The interesting was a competition run by clubs rather than Blazers. Yeah, we got to be a bit more definitive as to what that means. I think even through that explanation, it was still a bit sparse. But number 6, season-long... Oh, yeah, I already read that one out. I plan to ease the burden on travelling fans. Wow. How are they going to do that if they're playing games in Dubai and you're all the way on the other side of the world or whatever? A22...
that's basically it. No one will have to travel.
Yeah.
It's just the fans that are in that location that go.
Yeah, I guess everyone gets their turn. A22 recognised that additional measures should be taken to facilitate fan attendance at away games and say there should be increased dialogue with supporter groups. Sounds good, but whether you follow through is different. There is no mention of cost curbs on tickets, however. Of course not. Financial boost for the women's game. Of course, they were going to do that. It is unclear whether the European breakaway would have a similar setup for the women's game. Instead, A22 say financing should be significantly expanded beyond existing contributions for women's European club competitions. Number 9, boosting grassroots funding. A minimum of 400 million euros per year would be paid into grassroots, which A22 say is more than 2 times the contribution from existing European club competitions. Well, if that's true yet again, that's positive for them. Number 10, aligning the breakaway with the EU. Getting a bit political here. With its overt commitment to the EU, the A22 is perhaps resigned to launching without the involvement of English clubs. Interesting. Stakeholders must embrace the values, laws and fundamental freedoms of the EU, the group says.
Brexit means Brexit.
Yeah.
No Brits allowed,
Come
mate.
on.
Oh, well, I'm all right because I live in Spain, so yeah, maybe they'd have a few games over here.
No, I think I mean it does give fans around the world chance to watch games where they usually wouldn't be able to fly and travel.
But the thing is, you said it was going to subsidize not tickets, but travel. Yeah, I think the only way they could subsidize travel is if the clubs did that. The only way the clubs would do that is if that was tied into a contract to sign up for that league in the first place, because there ain't no way Arsenal were doing that.
But that's probably part
of...
Arsenal
just put their tickets up 5% again next season.
But then that's
probably 4% this season.
But I don't know, Lee. It probably might be part of the package that these clubs are getting paid to be in this Super League. You never know. Like I don't know.
If you go back to I know it's long to do it now, but if you actually go back and have a look at the proposal last time, I think it was saying like 400 odd million a season guaranteed each team or something, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's a lot of fucking wedge, isn't it?
But this is what I'm saying. Like, if this is going to happen, which I believe it will, whether it's this year, next year, 10 years, at some point, this will happen. And this is something that a lot of these owners are jockeying for position for, mate. Yeah, this is why clubs are coming in now. Like, so you're seeing Qataris come in now. Why? Because they could take it to that part of the world, perhaps.
Yeah.
Yeah, yes, they don't need the money, but it's not about the money. It's about welcome to our country. Look at the World Cup. That was a quality World Cup.
That was amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, it was wicked, wasn't it? The final was insane as well, man. And Mbappe missed 2 penalties the other night. It was like, you didn't miss them in the final, though, did you, mate?
No, exactly.
But if you look at that part of the world as well, bro, they can put on a show. Like, honestly, they can. And same with the African countries. We see that with the World Cup in South Africa, with the vuvuzelas and all of that,
And
that
all
everyone was
that,
going
yeah.
nuts about.
It was a mad
Yeah, it
World
just sounds
Cup
like
as
a
well.
bzzz in the bro. What a World Cup that was as well.
Yeah.
Right. And the thing is, I do think that this has been coming for longer than before the Premier League.
100%.
Like, I think that a lot of these owners have built, especially Arsenal's owner. Yeah, I think Arsenal's owner and Joe Lewis at Tottenham, like Enoch and that. I think especially the American side of it.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Yeah, respectfully.
Yeah, I think that they've definitely had their foot in the door for a long, long time because they've known this is coming. They're just sitting there holding it and holding it and holding it. And the Glazers have probably just had enough of waiting. Yeah, like,
exactly.
I thought we can get out of here. We've had enough of this. See you later. We can go and put our money somewhere else.
That's true. It's already happening across other sports. You know, you already look at the way that, well, the Americanization of various other sports. I mean, the way that they try to push out things like the Super Bowl and whatnot. But then you look at what F1 has been doing. You look at various concepts, even on a mad level, which some wouldn't even consider a sport. But you look at wrestling. I mean, they've got things going on in Saudi now as well. Boxing events in Saudi, like it's not a problem. Even in football, it's being tested. When you're looking at the Club World Cup taking place in the UAE, you're looking at the Club World Cup taking place in all sorts of these sort of places now.
Yeah.
It's been heading in that direction for a while. It's always been the plan. This is why, look, if you ask me, is this going to happen? To some sort of degree, yes.
There's an inevitability about it.
Yeah. You've made a great point there about boxing and wrestling and stuff like that, right? Because, like, I have DAZN here, yeah? Like, we don't have Sky Sports in Spain. We don't have BT Sport in Spain. Yeah, so it's all DAZN, right? Bro, I can watch everything on DAZN. Like, I've got the La Liga, I've got Serie A, I've got Turkish League, Portuguese League. I get every single Premier League game regardless. Doesn't matter what time or day it kicks off. I've got it. I get the women's game. Yeah, I get the Women's Champions League. Yeah, I get darts. I get golf. I get snooker. I get the Paralympics. I get the Olympics. I get absolutely anything. Any Eddie Hearn fight that is on pay-per-view in England, I get it for nothing because I paid my membership. My membership's €24.99 a month. I get all the MMA. Yeah, it doesn't matter what fights it is. I get all of that. €24.99 a month.
Yeah, that's a good package. That
it's only England where people get ripped off, right? But the point I was trying to raise, and it's true, 30 quid to watch Tyson Fury take the mick out of Chisora.
How much triple the price?
Younes, how much is it now for like a Sky subscription with like sports channels and all these things there? How much is it?
You have to get BT because you don't get all the games otherwise.
I'll narrow it down. You gotta get Sky, you gotta get BT, and you gotta get Amazon.
Yep.
So you gotta get Sky. You can get that through Sky. You can get that through Now TV if you just want Sky Sports. We're talking sports, so let's just say Sky Sports. £30 a month.
Wow.
For Now TV. BT, £25 a month.
All right, that's
to get all the BT sports channels.
Yeah.
Amazon, how much is Amazon now? A tenner, 15 quid a month or so, somewhere around there. Maybe a tenner. Let's say a tenner. I don't know if it could be a bit less. So overall, you're spending all of that for just English football.
Yeah, that's a lot of money. But I'm just going to get through some super chats real quick because they have been waiting for a minute. Exeter 1985, a member of the channel, big up yourself. Appreciate you, my brother. I believe that they want a world of league football that clubs would be promoted to by winning their league. They will tell you that gives lower clubs a chance to be included. I honestly think this is... I'm not going to lie to you.
To be fair, it does, though. If you think about it, because if you're putting out your reserve teams, or a mix and match team, like we went to the Etihad the other week and played 6 players that were not starters, against Man City in the cup. Yeah, what's the difference? Like Arsene Wenger and Fergie were doing this 15, 20 years ago in the League Cup, and that cup, we might as well. I don't want to throw it in the bin. I've seen this win it twice, but that cup means nothing to most modern day football fans. Yeah, it's the shit cup. That's all you have here. They don't want to be in it anyway. Shit cup. Even lower league teams, that cry about this Super League, put out reserve teams in that competition. Yeah, because their league positions are more important to them than playing in that competition to win a trophy, because the money to win that tournament is peanuts. Yeah, the FA Cup is the same. Yeah, so if we're going to go into a Super League, if we go into a Super League, you'll see a mix and match squads in the Premier League, which means that when lower league teams do finally get promoted into the Premier League, at the end of the season, playoffs and all of that, they now have a chance to fly up the table. Yeah, because they're going to be coming up against a mix of, it's like a cup final every week for them, because they're going to come up against an Arsenal team that's dropped 6 players that are going to play against Real Madrid on Friday or Saturday. So they have a chance to do an upset and get 3 points and move up. So if it's the top 3 go up and the top 3 come out of that division, like in the Super League, and you swap, then they do have a chance.
But this is the thing, like these teams that come out the Premier League, for example, have open door to go into the Super League. But for the teams that do go to the Super League, the Premier League can go, yo, we don't want you back.
Yeah.
Stay there.
Yeah, that's true.
Or
that's true.
It can be one way out and no way back in.
The problem the Premier League have got, though, is if too many of the big 6, and you can throw Newcastle into it now, so 7, right? You could throw every team into it. Let's be honest. There's only 2 teams in the Premier League that ain't got billionaire owners. And that's Nottingham Forest and Brentford. Brentford's owners worth 30 million. How he's even got them in the Premier League is a miracle. It's crazy.
Guys, listen to this one. Listen to this one, because this is an interesting super chat as well. Thank you, Mude, for this one. La Liga first built up Real Madrid and Barca at the cost of other 18 teams. Now, no one watches 95% of their matches and they can't get money. Real Madrid and Barca will also leave. La Liga should shut their mouths. What do you think to that?
La Liga will die without them.
It would.
It's clear. The Premier League, like I made this point earlier, the Premier League at least we got a lot of eyes on the Premier League. So I reckon even if the top 6 teams left, to an extent, it might survive, and that's barely, but might. La Liga would die tomorrow if Real Madrid and Barca.
So would Serie A.
So would every other division would
that's
die.
Dead anyway, apart from this season, where there's 6 teams all fighting for the title. But yeah, the way the money works over here, until recently, where Atleti got their foot in the door because they won a title in 9 years ago, 2014. Yep. It was 90% or 85% of the money went to Real Madrid and Barcelona. No, sorry, I'm lying. It was 80% of the money went to Real Madrid and Barcelona for TV rights. And then the other 20% went to the other 18 teams. And how Atleti managed to get themselves in there and become a superpower team, which they are, they're a massive club now, is a miracle. Yeah, it's literally a miracle. And the fact that they got Champions League finals, Europa League titles, beating us along the way. The fact that they compete and won another title the other year, and they get deep in. I know they didn't this year, but they get deep in the Champions League quite a lot. Yeah, it's testament to them, and that is the 1 in a trillion chance of that happening in that league. Yeah, because there ain't no other clubs doing that. When I was growing up, you'll remember this, guys. Yeah, because you're roughly the same age. Yeah, Deportivo La Coruña were like, boom.
They were a serious team. Very serious.
What's happened to them,
mate? They're in, if I'm not mistaken, they're in the 3rd division in Spain now.
Didn't Lucas Perez drop down to play for them to try and help him get up the leagues?
Yeah.
Look at Malaga. I live 30 minutes from Malaga. They had Isco balling out in the Champions League for Malaga.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't think Isco's even got a club right now, is he?
He got done dirty. He was supposed to sign for Union Berlin, and then it just went left in the last minute, and now he's.
But that club is gone. Yeah, and that's the thing. Like when you take and the money. Like the way Barcelona, I see their top boy come out today. Fabrizio tweeted it, saying that we've dropped the wage bill, we've sold this off, and we've done this and we've done that, and yes, we've financially saved Barca. Yeah, they're top of the table. They're 8 points clear of Real Madrid. Ancelotti's about to get sacked if he loses another league game. They've only lost 3 league games, and they're going to sack him. Yeah, and he won the Champions League last season in the league. That's how ruthless the Spanish league is. Yeah, and over here. Like, they don't ramp, mate. All of this rainbow laces and all of that they do in the Premier League. Real Madrid do not take part in that. Yeah, they refuse to take part in that. I posted it on my Instagram today because Arsenal put out a few things. Yeah, and then I thought, I remember Real Madrid getting in trouble with UEFA because they refused to take part in it. Yeah, but again, Real Madrid, you slap them with a fine. What they're going to do? Pay the fine. Cheers. Money's irrelevant to these clubs.
Yeah, it's up to
Yeah, and
it's
money's
nothing.
irrelevant to your club, my club. Money's even irrelevant to Wolves, Aston Villa. Yeah, teams like Aston Villa's owners worth about 11 billion quid. Wolves owners, the whole thing, the whole group is probably worth about £1 trillion.
Flipping hell.
Like they're one
Yeah,
of the
serious
richest
money we're talking.
organisations combined in the world. Yeah, and it's like when you're the Premier League and you've built this monster, which they have, it's going to be very hard if all of these clubs say, yeah, we want in on the Super League, because then what can they do? Okay, we'll take you to court, we'll fight it through court. Okay, cool. Well, you better have more money than all of them clubs put together, which you ain't, because otherwise you ain't winning. Yeah, so, look at Man City. They've just hired the lawyer that's the top lawyer in England. Whether they've done something wrong or not, well done to them. They got the best of the best.
Yeah,
And the Premier League are going to find themselves in sticky position if all of the top clubs, like the top 6, 7, 8, 10 clubs or whatever, because from what we're reading, it's going to be 3 or 4 leagues for this Super League.
Yep.
So it's not going to be. It'll probably be 20 Premier League teams go into the first 4 leagues. It'll be 5 in each. Yeah, 5. The top 5. Yeah, and then the bottom 5 and so on. And then a team that comes up from the Championship goes into the Premier League. The 3 that get relegated from the Premier League go into the Championship. But that also means they get relegated from their division in the Super League down. Or I don't know. Yeah, so I don't know. I think it could work. I can't lie. I do think it could work. But the Premier League have to have in on it. And eventually they will say yes. Because if they all go down that route, the Premier League are snookered. Because
Premier League are snookered, because if you bear this into mind, it's almost like what they done in '92 will come back to bite them, because they've separated themselves from the rest of the pyramid. They've separated themselves from the next 4 divisions below, whereas they are collectively under one body, the EFL. So if it does get to a point where the Premier League are snookered and teams have gone off to the Super League, the EFL can go, nah, we're not interfering in this, because the Championship will become Division 1 again.
Yeah, we don't want any of your rubbish down here, mate. Yeah, you broke away from us.
The Championship will become the Premier League. If it's true over 4 or 5 divisions where all the Premier League teams bugger off and join the Super League, then the Championship could become England's top division.
Yeah, and the Premier League just folds.
Yeah.
All right, so
it's mad, isn't it?
Yeah.
But this is what happens when, like, if you add up all of the clubs that could potentially be involved in this, like, and add up their wealth, like, this is just off the charts. The Premier League can't compete with that. Yeah, La Liga can't compete with that. There's 2 teams that rule La Liga. Yeah, you can maybe throw Atleti in there as well. 3 teams. Like, you can't compete.
Also, to say, with this whole ESL thing, right? The Super League can only go ahead, I truly believe, if the English teams are involved. If there's no Premier League team involved, I don't think it goes ahead just yet. I think they're going to do as much as they can, even if it means waiting next year, the season after, whatever. But without Premier League teams getting involved, there's a loophole. There's a massive vacuum there. And if they do what they can to get the English teams involved, if it happens, then mission accomplished. If it doesn't, I don't think it goes ahead. I think they need us. So,
no, 100%. But people, listen. I'm going to have to bring the stream to an end, but thank you to everybody.
Can I just say one more thing as well before you end? Sorry, Guni, yeah? If you look at your club, my club, Man United, Liverpool, and Tottenham, that's 5 of the big 6, 7, whatever you want to call it. Where are all the owners from?
America.
There you go. So if all of them say, yeah, we want in, yeah, you're left with Man City. Well, they ain't going to say no because they'll be left behind. So they'll say, yeah, we'll jump in. Like, I know Man United and Liverpool are kind of up for sale. Well, Man United definitely. Liverpool looking for some investment. But your owners are American. Ours are American. Tottenham, the same. Like, that's 3 of the big 6 straight away.
This is why I say, United and Liverpool go to American owners. I reckon this Super League is a definite. Well, I still think it's inevitable, but I think for them, because the way the majority of them have been going, they're for it. So let's see what ends up happening there, man. But I don't think it's I don't think it's going to go away. I think it's here to stay, and we're just going to have to get used to what happens, because a lot of us may complain about it. However you may feel, if it's there, it's there. But we're just going to keep supporting our teams.
This is exactly the same as what happened when the Premier League came in. Everyone was crying and moaning and getting upset and irate and all of that. But as soon as the competition starts and it gets exciting and all of that, eventually people forget.
It's all forgotten, innit? Yeah, it's just, we got to move on with the times. But people, listen, smash that subscribe button. Smash that like button. Leave your thoughts down there in the comments as well. If you are watching after this stream, big up everybody in the chat. Yeah, every single one of you. Big up all the mods as well. Thank you very much for the super chats as well to those that donated. Lee, what have you got on your channel coming up, or what have you already got that you want the people them to see?
Well, I did a show with you earlier.
Yeah, obviously you guys got to go back and watch that, obviously, yeah.
So go and check that out. I then was going to talk about Declan Rice and Ansu Fati, and then the chat just triggered me. So I went on not a mad rant, but I went on a bit of a waffling one about certain content creators, which I named. So go and check that out.
I'm watching that then.
Chatting absolute garbage. Yeah. And tomorrow I'll be live at 1 p.m. I'll be doing a stream at 1 p.m. I'm on with Rants on his Twitch tomorrow as well. So
Younes.
So we've got video that's already out today about the Super League and this whole conversation, but my opinion on it all. And tomorrow will be the preview for West Ham Chelsea.
Facts.
As we play the 12:30 kickoff slot, which is the dreaded slot. I know. 12:30 on a Saturday as well. Yeah. So we'll see what happens. And then we'll move on there because we approach Dortmund next Wednesday. So
yeah, I hear that. Yeah, very similar to Younes. Obviously, we're both Chelsea fans. I've got the West Ham preview coming up. Definitely gonna be looking into that game. The return of João Felix. So should be interesting to see how things play out with him back in the squad, playing alongside Enzo Fernandez. Fucking hell, what was that? Playing alongside Enzo Fernandez. So yeah, we're going to talk about that one tomorrow. But people, thanks again. Road to 20K, help us get there, man. Yeah, respect people. Thank you guys for joining. Big up Lee, big up Younes, big up everyone in the chat. Gareth Southgate.